This is Future Talk.
Future Talk.
Future Talk with Omnia Saleh and Hani Balkis.
Yes, you're listening to Future Talk right here on Pulse 95. This is the one and only place where we bring you the latest in robotics, artificial intelligence, gadgets, and applications. All that you need to know about what's happening in the tech world, in the UAE, and around the world is being brought to you right here on Pulse 95. Lots is happening right here in the UAE because we're going to be talking about a new system that will automatically detect those who are not wearing their seatbelt. But also, if you have the really bad habit of texting and driving, you got to be very careful because artificial intelligence will be deployed to catch those who are using their phones as they drive. But today we're also going to be talking about an Emirati inventor who won international honor for creating a high-tech mission to combat passport fraud. Now that borders are reopening, people are starting to travel more often, we do need to make sure that everyone is abiding by the rules and regulations. But we're also going to be talking about weird tech on the show today because self-driving robotaxis are taking off in China. What do these robotaxis look like and what can they offer customers? This is all what we're going to be discussing in just a few moments. In the world of apps, lots is happening because Google Maps is making headlines with a brand new feature that lets anyone upload a street view of their house, of their surroundings by simply using their smartphone. And this is definitely going to make Google Maps become a much more collaborative experience for people to get to showcase where they live and how beautiful their cities are. Lots and lots is in store right here on Future Talk, so keep Pulse 95 locked and we'll be right back.
Daily digital news. Bits and bytes connect our world.
Your quick roundup of everything that is happening in the tech world in the UAE and around the world. With the end of 2020 and the beginning of a brand new year, we all take time to reflect, but also to jot down some changes that we want to make in our lives. And this is exactly what the UAE is doing by forcing change and encouraging drivers to change their really bad habits, because an automated system will be deployed right here in the UAE to detect traffic violations. And more specifically, we're looking at those who tend to use their smartphones, look at their smartwatches while driving, and those who fail to wear their seatbelt. Now, we all know how important it is to wear your seatbelt and how many accidents has wearing a seatbelt actually prevented and how many accidents it has actually saved the lives of those who were wearing it. But the Abu Dhabi Digital Authority that represents the Department of Government Support has developed the new VAST, which stands for Vehicular Attention and Safety Tracker System. So this system will be able to reduce traffic incidents and boost the safety of those who are driving in Abu Dhabi, but also in the rest of the Emirates. And it's also going to be raising awareness about how important it is to make sure that we are implementing safe practices as we drive. Now, the radar monitoring element will be capturing high-resolution images through artificial intelligence cameras. So this basically means that these cameras can definitely analyze themselves and detect those who are not wearing a seatbelt, but also those who are using their mobile phones as they drive. Every violator that is not wearing their seatbelt or who are using their phones while they drive, they'll be receiving an SMS directing them to rectify their behavior immediately. So as you're mindlessly using your phone, you're going to be receiving a text message to remind you to get off of it, but also to warn you of being fined. Now, the traffic safety and road accident reduction model will also be contributing to reducing the injury rates right here in the UAE and overall enhancing the traffic safety levels across the different Emirates. Now, they're also going to be implemented in the form of different phases, not all at once. So at first, they're going to be installing different camera and edge devices. They will be rectifying the image review models and how frequent and how coherent are these images, but also the performance dashboard and model retraining. The data and modern technology team will also be working closely with the Abu Dhabi police and the rest of the Emirates to collect, track, analyze, and process all the data that these cameras are collecting. Now, we do know that tech has had a big role in reducing traffic, in helping out in the healthcare sector. But without the police department, without human beings actually collaborating with these different artificial intelligence machines, this job would not be possible. But speaking of possibility, one Emirati inventor has definitely created a lot of possibilities for youth by encouraging them to become more involved in the tech sector. We're talking about an Emirati inventor who won an international honor for a high-tech mission that is combating passport fraud. Now, this machine can detect irregularities in passports in a matter of seconds. Now, the high-tech method will be basically detecting any passport fraud so that people who are planning to try and play the system will not be able to do so. He is the brains behind the E7 reader. Amir Al-Jabri will basically be creating a machine that can scan a passport's details and identify any fake or altered document in less than 5 seconds. Now, this innovation is widely found across the UAE, and it will also be implemented there as well. Traditionally, 2 separate devices are used for reading and testing the validity of a passport. But with this invention, Mr. Al-Jabri is trying to create a machine that can do both tasks all at once, which will save valuable time and data and money as well. Now, this achievement has secured him a silver medal at the Seoul International Invention Fair of this year. And this is definitely one of the biggest competitions that are carried for all tech innovations. To have such an invention coming right out of the UAE reach a global stage, it's definitely an honor that we are very proud of. And even though he was expecting the gold medal, he is definitely happy and proud of winning the silver one, especially because when you're looking at how many participants and how many countries were part of this international competition, it's definitely a great honor. We're looking at 700 participants from 45 countries. The inspiration behind this invention came after Mr. Al-Jabri was actually working for about a decade in the passport examination lab at the international airport right here in the UAE. So this device has definitely taken about 5 years to get to where it is today, and it started out with very minimal gadgets, very cheap devices as he was trying out the idea. He started out with a selfie stick and a lamp. But today, the E7 machine is a sophisticated product that is currently being used by passport control officials right here in the UAE. Let us know, have you met any Emirati inventor, any inventor that was inspired by an issue that they've witnessed during their course of work, during their life, and they have created a solution, a tech solution that was able to resolve this issue very seamlessly. Coming up on Future Talk, we still have lots and lots in store for you all. We're talking all about robotaxis, not any robotaxis, but self-driving ones that are currently taking off all the way in China.
Check this out. Check this out. All 95.
The majority of the weird inventions that we talk about on Future Talk typically come out of China, but this one has got to be one of the very, very weird ones because we're talking all about self-driving robotaxis, and we've seen the world inching towards fully autonomous cars for years now. But in China, one company just got even closer to making this become a reality. An Alibaba-backed up startup called AutoX announced last week that they have fully rolled out driverless robotaxis on public roads in Shenzhen. This company has officially become the first player in China to do so, which is a very important industry milestone, especially whenever we're talking about driverless cars. Since driverless cars have been the talk of the century for now, a lot of people have been very worried about them becoming implemented out on the roads. Some countries have tried to create special roads for these autonomous vehicles to be placed on, just so that they can make sure that their safety is not impacting people on the streets, other drivers in different cars. But companies that are currently operating autonomous shuttles on public roads in the country were constrained by strict caveats. And one of them was the requirement of having a safety driver in the car. So at all times, they wanted, whenever a self-driving car was out on the street, that there has to be a driver behind the wheel, even if he or she are not, functioning the car or touching that wheel, just in case something were to happen happen, the driver would be able to jump in and react as required. But this program that AutoX company in Shenzhen is implementing is completely different because they have removed the backup driver or any remote operators for its local fleet of 25 cars. So right now in China, you have about 25 cars operating with no driver in them. All you'll have is customers, or let's say people who are waiting to be picked up and dropped off back in the seats. Now, the government is not restricting where in the city AutoX is operating. So even though it's currently focusing on the downtown area, these cars are open to go on whichever street they wish to be on. And this is, again, another big accomplishment because as far as of today, we've never seen cars implement, especially autonomous cars, implemented on the street, A, without a backup driver, but B, for them to be able to be present on any street without them having special streets to function on. Now, the company did release a video to showcase how all of this testing is going, and the video was of a minivan navigating on its own through the city's downtown area. You can see in the video the passengers getting in. You can see the car loading a package into the back seat, and simply the car just immediately gets where the person wants to go through an application and it functions on its own. So the car would be driving through the street, the steering wheel would be moving on its own, no person to be seen in the driver's seat, and it can definitely predict many obstacles, so it can navigate around any loading trucks, around any other cars on the street. It can veer past pedestrians, so it's not posing any threats on those who are crossing the road. And it can also perform a U-turn successfully. Now, this definitely sounds like a dream come true to anyone who's been wanting a driverless car on the street for a while now. And after working so hard for many years, AutoX company has definitely reached a point where this technology is mature enough that they feel confident to remove the safety driver from the car altogether. Now, the company has definitely faced a lot of issues from regulators worried about the performance of it, but as far as of today, they have about 100 vehicles every single day on the road capturing data, and the AI software has definitely been trained well enough to function through different circumstances, and no one has died so far. And I'm saying no one has died so far because we've previously seen with Tesla has killed a few pedestrians on the road. It has definitely caused some damage. Even though they are training the AI every single day to perform better, they have not reached to the point where they can allow an autonomous car to drive on its own without a backup driver. From a technical point of view, the car is completely ready, but it's very crucial to have this car go driverless safely on the road. And that is one of the biggest worries that a lot of companies, especially those who are working on robotaxis and autonomous cars, have been facing. Now, the new initiative is still in trial mode, so we don't have to get too excited, but and it's currently not open to the public. But there is big hope that this will change very soon. They have been working on obtaining permission to expand the program so that regular passengers in the next 2 to 3 years will be able to get into those cars seamlessly. Let us know your thoughts. Would you trust a driverless car to be out on the road, and would you ride in it? That's definitely a big concern for many people. It's not the first time that fully driverless shuttles have hit public roads, but it's definitely one of the first times that they have done so with optimum safety. Let us know your thoughts. 4215, our text lines are open. Dur Ittisalat. Would you ride in a driverless car if you could? And would you be fine driving on the street if you look to your left and you look to your right and you find a car with no driver in the driver's seat? You can also send in your thoughts on our Instagram at Pulse 95 Radio. But coming up on Future Talk, we still have lots and lots in store for you all, because we're going to be talking about Google Maps allowing everyone to upload a street view photo with their own smartphones. So now you can go ahead and take control of your own content on Google Maps, and who knows, you may just have your own photos posted on the app as well.
Pulse 95.
Apps all around.
What's worth a click and download?
I'm sure this is an application that is found on everyone's phone. And if it's not Google Maps, it's definitely Apple Maps, because We're talking all about navigation systems, but this time, it's not about how you can get to your destination, but more or less on how you can portray the destination that you are heading to or the destination that you currently live in. Because Google has announced the launch of a brand new update that allows users to create street view photos using just a phone and the Maps application. So now you can go ahead and add photos of the places that you visit, photos of your own hometown, upload them on the application, and feel like you've contributed to this app, the app that has helped millions of people find their way no matter where they are. Now, this new connected photos tool is found in the application, and it allows users to record a series of connected images as they move down a street or path. For those of you who remember the good old days of the panoramic view of cameras, it basically functions in a very similar way. So yeah, you'll be taking pictures and videos as you're moving down the street, down the path, and they have to be right after each other. So you don't take your thumb off of the capture button, because these images are basically functioning on a technology that is called the AR core. So it's the same augmented reality technology that big tech giants have been using, but it's trying to create an experience that is more or less like the live view. So this way, people who are viewing Google Maps will get a continuous feel of what the road looks like, what the house looks like from different angles, and then Google Maps will take all these images that you'll go ahead and upload. It will automatically rotate, position them. It will do everything possible so that the photos look like a series of connected ones rather than separate photos put all together on Google Maps. So the minute that Google places those connected images on Google Maps, your new street view can be found in the exact location where these photos were taken. So others who are looking to visit the specific city or the specific country can go ahead and see exactly what it looks like and explore all the different cafes and restaurants that are found in that area. Before this feature was available, you would typically need a special 360-degree camera to be able to capture and publish the street view imagery. But now all you'll need is your typical camera, your phone, and the Google Maps app, and Google will do all the tough job for you. It'll rotate, it'll connect them, it'll even fix the brightness to make sure that they all look the exact same way. These pictures will help make Google Maps a lot more accurate, but also up to date for everyone who wants to go ahead and check it out. Let us know your thoughts. Would you like to add a photo of your hometown, a photo of the place that you are heading to on Google Maps? Personally, I have definitely enjoyed using Google Maps with friends that I've never met in real life. So any virtual friend, it's very interesting to be able to go through Google Maps and find exactly where they live, what their hometown looks like, especially if you've never visited where they live. And at the same time, it's very interesting to have those friends check out exactly where you live throughout Google Maps. I remember having a phone call with a friend once over Zoom, and she literally saw my neighborhood, she saw my university, she saw where I live, all through Google Maps. No photos were taken. I didn't have to do anything but basically look up my location, and the photos popped up very seamlessly. The only thing that actually broke my heart, though, is that those photos were not as updated as I would have wished they were, so she couldn't see what my hometown actually looks like today. She could see what it looked like back when Google put those photos up to match the name of the street. So now I can go ahead and do it myself with this brand new feature on Google Maps that will allow me to do just that. Let us know your thoughts. 4215, our text lines are open. Do or Itisalat or sign into our DMs at Pulse 95 Radio. But keep Pulse 95 locked, because we still have lots and lots to share with you about what's happening in the tech world, in the UAE, and around the world.
Pulse 95.
Apps all around.
What's worth a click and download?
Scammers can definitely have different ways to make sure that they get what they are looking for. And we've definitely seen a lot of scammers call us on our phones, especially during the coronavirus pandemic. They were using the lockdown to try and grow fear in the hearts of many. But today we're talking all about a new UAE Chat app that can tell you if you're talking to scammers. Because nowadays, especially with children using the World Wide Web just as widely as they are for studying, for talking to friends, especially with social distancing. You just never know who your children are chatting with. How can you make sure that the person that your children they think that they're talking to is really the person that they say they are? Do we need another chat app on our smartphones? Yes and no. Even though it does sound like, do I still have to download yet another app to make sure that scammers are not getting to me? Sounds like a very tedious project, but at the same time, if this app can ensure that your children are safe, that you are not subjected to any scammers, it's definitely worth downloading. Now, this is one of the first social chat applications that are currently being worked on in South Korea, and this app can verify the user's identity within seconds. We're talking about a chat that can basically help out over 150,000 verified users, and it's going to be launched next year right here in the UAE. Now, the app has been registered in Singapore and it was developed by Omani. The application is going to be offering several benefits. So as a user, you can go ahead and call, chat, or do business throughout this phone and throughout this application without necessarily feeling worried of scammers taking and making the best out of it. A key feature of the application is that it's creating a safe environment specifically for children, because we're living in a day and age where a child at about 7 years old starts asking for a phone. And by the age of 10, if not younger, they want a social media account. And with social media, you just never know who they're chatting to. But with this app, they can actually find out exactly who they're chatting to by going through the algorithms of the app itself and finding out if the image on the user profile actually matches the identity of this person. Once the identity is verified, that means that the user is genuine and the application will allow you to have a conversation with them. It's definitely a great safety aspect that the application is currently working on, especially for gaming apps, because we do know that gaming apps have definitely encouraged children to speak to strangers, which is not the best situation for a child, especially at a very young age. They still don't know who and how to deal with who they are talking to. And during the pandemic, as many activities went online, children were gaming more than ever before. And to make sure that the person that they are doing those games with, they're playing with, they are discussing the different things with, that they are legitimate, an application like this will definitely come in handy. This app will be hopefully launched early next year, so we don't have much time to wait since we are already on the outskirts of 2020 and about to enter 2021, a year that a lot of people are being hopeful for, excited for, and definitely relieved that 2020 is coming to an end. Are you the same way as well? Because I know I definitely am. I cannot wait for 2020 to end and 2021, a new page, a new slate to go ahead and start. Future Talk is coming to an end, but you can definitely count on us to bring you the latest on what is happening in the tech world tomorrow, same time, same place from 2 to 3 p.m. Until then, we're going to be leading you in the safe hands of the dream team. Aisha Al-Mazmi and Mikhail Atiyah will be coming in with Afternoon Karak, bringing you all that you need to know about what's happening in the world of movies and shows. What shows should you be watching nowadays? This is definitely going to be coming in just a few moments. I want to wish you a blessed afternoon. Take care. Make sure you're following all the safety and precautionary measures. COVID-19 is very much still well and alive, and we do need to make sure that we are doing everything on our part to stay safe and keep those who are around us safe. Have a great afternoon, and we'll see you next time.
If you liked this episode of Future Talk, drop a like and subscribe.
Pulse 95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.